the time you were there, you were friends with everyone, but then you have people like Brandi Glanville.
The thing that's hard is when you are such close friends, you don't want to hurt one another, and the conflict is very emotional, and I think that is why our seasons were so realistic, is we really cared for one another. And I know me personally, it's you can't really hurt me if I don't care about you. And I think that was the whole system that worked, was that all of us really cared, and that's what made the tension so high and the emotions so high. And then in season 2, when they inserted Brandi in the mix, and none of us knew her and none of us had emotions about her, and she was such a catalyst for disaster all the time, it lost some of its authenticity. And I see that with a lot of the other housewives shows where the feelings don't seem like they're really real.
Are you like aware when, like, because Brandi always seems to get herself in the press these days still, she's still talk, I mean, like, were you aware like last season, like the whole like Denise and Brandi thing, and did they sleep together or did they not? Denise Richards and Brandi, were you aware of all that was going on? I know you don't watch religiously.
I heard a little bit about it, and it just like it's just such an eye roll for me because she just consistently needs to insert herself in stuff because she wants to be relevant. But who knows? I think Denise is such a sweet person, and I don't know her well, but I don't believe a single word that comes out of Brandy's mouth. So I really doubt any of it to be true. She just always wants to be in the middle of things.
I was like, and now Denise has moved on. She's left, and she actually left on her own. So, I mean, I don't necessarily blame her.
I was shocked that she ever even joined the cast. Denise is, she's had a long career in Hollywood, and I was taken aback when I found out she was even going to go on the show.
Like, to your point of everybody being friends, like, do you like the idea of, like, Rinna and Eileen Davidson and Garcelle, and we have all these true actresses now that like are on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or have come and gone. Like, what do you think about like actresses being part of this show?
In the beginning, I think that Housewives in general was really reluctant to have actresses on because they thought perhaps people, the audience, would not see that as authentic. They would wonder if they were acting. I think Rinna's a great fit on Housewives. I didn't know Eileen, and I didn't really think that she was as compelling, but I think Rinna's a great fit.
I think this is the role that Rinna was born to play. I mean, Days of Our Lives and Melrose Place move over because I think she's a great fit too.
I adore her as a person, and I think that she is, like you said, this is probably the role she was always meant to do.
Is she really fun to hang out with in real life?
And she's very fun, absolutely.
She seems like a lot of fun. What about, I mean, you were recently on Watch What Happens when Andy asked who would go back to the Housewives, and you quickly raised your hand. Why would you go back now?
I would go back to Housewives now because my life is so very different. And during the seasons that I was on, I had so much turmoil in my home life that I didn't get to be as authentic when I was with the cast. I was always worried about what repercussions things would have with my home life. And now I have such a supportive husband, and I could really open up and be more of myself. And I'm back to my happy self, and I'm able to be fun loving and live in the moment as opposed to always being concerned about the ramifications or what might happen when I get home. So just having the freedom to really be myself and having a support system around me. I use the reference, but it's like I have my Mauricio and my Ken, like Lisa and Kyle have, and having that to go home to, I believe makes all the difference in how I would behave on the show.
You mean if you go back, we may not see any new cat memes with Taylor Armstrong?
I don't think there'll ever be a replacement for the original cat meme.
I don't think so either, Taylor. I don't think there's going to be any housewife meme that will ever replace that particular Taylor Armstrong cat meme. But we would see a different Taylor. So I think I'm all for that, right? If you
Yeah,
went back.
yeah, I think it would be interesting for me to be able to be who I really am as opposed to the ghost of myself that I was during those years.
What show would you go back to though? RHOC or RHOBH?
Well, therein lies the problem. So Andy is not open to having people switch cities. So I guess I would have to go back to RHOBH, although I think it would make sense for me to be on Orange County. I know he doesn't like the city switching because it seems inauthentic, but it's different if it was, let's say, a New York housewife who all of a sudden was on Beverly Hills. I think that reads a little more false than someone who lived 45 minutes away from here, 30 minutes, however, depending on traffic, who it's, still California. There's some similarities there. And I think it's a little bit more believable that way.
And I think it's like, in a way, you're not switching cities. It's not like you were there last season and now you're back. It's been so long, 11 years, as we pointed out at the beginning of this. I don't know. I think it's time to shake the rules up a little bit.
All right. Well, you make the call.
I mean, you live there, you're friends. Are you friends with anyone like, I mean, we don't know who the cast is going to be, but like Kelly Dodd, Gina Kirschenheiter, Emily Shannon, like any of these folks that were there last season, Bronwyn?
I am friends with Kelly Dodd, and she and I actually have a long history, so it would be a fit. I know some of the others, but just I know them. I don't know them well.
You and Kelly Dodd, I think that's all we need to know, Taylor. I think this is all we need to know. Like, I mean, I'm sold. Let me make a few calls on your behalf and I'll get back to you.
Okay, perfect. Have your people call my people.
I will. Looking back, what advice would you give to Taylor Armstrong, 2010, signing up to join Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like knowing what you know now?
That is a really good question. I just wish I would have been more of myself. I wish that I could have enjoyed the ride more and not let all the pressure surrounding my marriage have such a huge effect on my participation. I feel that I would have liked to just had a lot more fun with it and not let all the fear surrounding my personal life have such a huge